Alex got a job as a night pharmacist at a 24-hour pharmacy on the outskirts of the city. The pharmacy was called Health, but locals called it the Glass Box because of its huge windows that reflected the yellow streetlights at night. The neighborhood was old, residential. During the day, mothers walked with strollers, but after midnight, the streets emptied. Only occasional taxi drivers and insomniac elderly women. Inside, the pharmacy was exactly what Alex expected. A long counter, shelves full of boxes, the smell of medicine and old refrigerators. Behind the bulletproof glass, his workstation, security monitors, a door with a peephole and a heavy lock. Before his first shift, Alex met the outgoing pharmacist, a man in his 50s with red, tired eyes. He was packing his things and looked visibly nervous. "You're the new guy?" he asked. "Yeah. Listen to me. I'll say this once. At 2:37 a.m., someone will ring the bell, or knock. They might even cry outside the door. Do not open it. Not for anyone, not for any reason. Got it?" Alex wanted to ask why, but the man had already left, leaving the keys on the counter. Alex was alone. It was quiet. Too quiet for a 24-hour pharmacy. He turned on the radio, but it only picked up static. He turned it off. At 12:30 a.m., a woman came for heart medication. At 1 a.m., a taxi driver for painkillers. By 2 a.m., the street was completely dead. Alex sat, drank coffee, scrolled through his phone. The refrigerators hummed. Somewhere, water dripped. He felt like the main character in a horror movie, alone in an empty pharmacy in the middle of the night. Ridiculous, he thought. It's just a job. But at 2:15 a.m., he noticed something strange. The security camera light at the front door had stopped blinking. It was just glowing steadily. Alex figured it was a technical glitch. At 2:20 a.m., the refrigerator behind him shut off. It became quiet, so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat. He turned around. The fridge was dark, but inside someone was scratching, someone dragging a fingernail across the plastic. Alex stood up, opened the door. Empty, just cold air. He closed it. A minute later, the scratching returned. He opened it again. Nothing. Then he taped the fridge door shut with duct tape. 5 minutes later, the tape was peeled off from the inside. At 2:25 a.m., the landline phone rang. Alex picked up. Silence. Then a child's laughter. He hung up. The phone rang again. And again. Each time the laughter was louder. Alex unplugged the phone from the wall. It went silent. He sat back down, but then he noticed something strange on the security monitor. In the backyard, in the corner of the frame, stood a figure, small, motionless. Alex zoomed in. The figure didn't move. He couldn't make out a face. A minute later, it was gone. Glitch, he told himself. I'm just tired. At 2:30 a.m., he heard footsteps. Slow, heavy. Someone was walking along the pavement, dragging their feet. They stopped right in front of the door. Alex walked to the window. The street was empty. No one. Just the yellow street lamp and the shadow of the pole. He went back to his chair. A minute later, another ring, longer, more insistent. Alex looked out the window. Again, no one. He checked the monitor. The front door camera showed an empty doorstep, but the red light on the camera still wasn't blinking. At 2:35 a.m., the bell rang a third time, and immediately after, a soft, wet knock on the door. Someone was dragging their nails across the glass, slowly, deliberately. Alex froze. He couldn't move. His heart was pounding so loudly that he thought someone outside could hear it. The clock hit 2:37 a.m., and in that exact second the door shuddered from a heavy impact. Not a knock, a slam, like someone had run and thrown their whole body against it. Bam, bam, bam. The glass vibrated. Alex jumped back. He couldn't breathe. Then silence for 1 second. And then he heard a voice. Not male, not female, wet, like someone speaking through a damp cloth. Alex, I know you're in there. Open the door. I'm cold. I've walked so far. Alex froze. How did this voice know his name? He walked to the door, looked through the peephole. No one. Empty street. Just the flickering light. But the voice continued. It was closer now, as if someone had pressed their lips to the crack of the door. I just need one pill. You're a pharmacist. Just open a little. I won't hurt you. Alex wanted to shout, go away, but he couldn't. His throat tightened. He felt cold. Not from the door, from somewhere inside. The temperature in the pharmacy had dropped. He could see his own breath. He backed away toward the desk, fumbled for his phone. His fingers were shaking. He started to dial 911. And then the security monitors went black. All 4 of them, one by one. The screen was dark. Then came the silence. The most terrifying silence of his life. No knocks, no voice, no footsteps. The refrigerator behind him was quiet. The street lamp outside went dark. Only his breathing and the ticking of the clock. Alex sat in the corner until morning, clutching a pair of scissors from the desk drawer. He didn't sleep, didn't move, just stared at the door. He thought about the warning, about the red eyes of the previous pharmacist, about why he had said, don't open the door. And then he realized he had forgotten to lock the door. At 6 a.m., the morning shift pharmacist arrived. She opened the door with her key. The door was unlocked. Why are you sitting on the floor? She asked. And why is there a puddle of water here? Alex looked down. From the door to his chair, a wet trail, as if something had crawled and stopped right in front of him. And on the glass door a handprint, small, a child's hand. Alex quit that same day. At home he tried to forget. He couldn't. A week later he returned to the neighborhood during the day. He went into the store across the street and asked the cashier, "What's the story with that pharmacy?" Why don't the pharmacists last? The cashier lowered her voice. In the 90s, a little girl disappeared, 8 years old. She went to get medicine for her grandmother and never came back. The police searched, never found her. A year later, they found her things in the pharmacy basement, and her diary. What was in the diary? I don't know. The people who found it won't say, but one of them later hanged himself. Alex thanked her and left. He wanted to forget, but something pulled him back. When he got home, he called the previous pharmacist. The man didn't answer for a long time. Then he picked up. "I worked there for 2 years," he said quietly. "I never opened that door, but every night at 2:37 a.m., I heard a child's laughter, and then a voice. It called my name. 'Don't open it, kid. Forget that pharmacy. Leave the city.'" Alex didn't listen. He went down to the pharmacy basement. There was a heavy iron door with a bolt. He opened it. Inside, a stone room with no windows. On the walls, children's drawings. A sun, a house, a tree. And on one wall, written in red, the same phrase repeated over and over. "They won't let me out." Alex called the police. They arrived, went down, came back up 5 minutes later. "There's nothing there," the lead officer said. But one of the officers had a white face. A month later, he quit the force. They say he still can't sleep. Now the pharmacy is closed. The door is boarded up. The basement has been filled with concrete. But locals avoid that street after midnight, because at 2:37 a.m. you can still hear the knocking, and sometimes a small, childlike voice. "Open the door. I'm cold." Alex never works night shifts anymore. But sometimes, waking up at 3 a.m., he hears someone dragging their fingers across the glass of his own apartment door. He doesn't check. He just lies there, staring at the ceiling, waiting for dawn. If you made it to the end, you're either brave or you can't sleep. Either way, subscribe to Glitch or Void. Good night. Or not so good night.